of people think I'm insane because I don't think women should vote.
Not sure why Piers Morgan calls just pearly things. He called her the female Andrew Tate. I'm here for it. I want to hear exactly why he calls her that. Piers Morgan usually has spicy conversations with many people, and apparently this is going to be another one. But I do want to say this. Shout out to Pearl, just pearly things, because I believe not too long ago, the red pill arena tried to cancel this young lady. I guess they were saying she was doing some type of business deals that was not kosher, and that she was pandering to a certain community of individuals just so she could be in the conversation, but never really stood on anything that she could actually relate to. I don't know her in order to say whether she was doing that or not, and I don't know a whole lot about the red pill community. And when I say red pill, I'm not talking about the conservative community. I'm talking about this whole manosphere red pill community. This is a part of YouTube where young people who don't know a damn thing about life teach each other about life. That's the best way I can describe it. That's the best way. And I'm not pooping on manosphere. I mean, they can teach each other how to get jobs and how to deal with girls and conversations at their levels. But as far as them teaching about life, I've watched some of these conversations and I'm like, man, y'all got it all wrong. But in a couple of years, y'all gonna be all right. But I want to see what this one is about. Y'all let me know what y'all want me to know in the comments. Hit the like button for me, please.
Welcome back to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Pearl Davis has racked up a legion of online followers and plenty of breathless newspaper coverage by sharing her incendiary views on modern feminism. The New York Post called her the female Andrew Tate. So she tapped into genuine female pushback to the excesses of wokery, or is she just an attention seeker? We'll find out in a moment. But first,
shout out to her for booking a one-on-one with daggone Piers Morgan. That's huge. Congratulations. That's awesome. She's done some big things in her career on YouTube. So shout out to her. Her and her team, they make some good moves sometimes as well. And this right here, to me, is a good move.
First, let's take a look at the clip that sent her viral.
A lot of people think I'm insane because I don't think women should vote. Everybody thinks I'm crazy for this opinion. If anything, this is probably my most extreme opinion.
She said women should not vote? Okay, all right. Hold on. Okay, she said women should not vote. Let me shut up and listen to why she say women should not, why she say y'all ladies out there shouldn't vote. You should stay in the kitchen with and fixing your man a sandwich and fixing the kids a sandwich.
Everybody thinks I'm crazy for this opinion. If anything, this is probably my most extreme opinion. 90% of women have been on birth control. 1 out of 3 women has had an abortion. 1 out of 3 women has an STD. Average body count is over 5, so that your average wife has slept with over 5 people. 95% of women are not virgins on their wedding days. So I understand the complaint.
OK, well, Pearl joins me now alongside political journalist Ava Santini, who was nodding furiously along there to everything she heard. Right, Pearl, you've be called the female Andrew Tate. How do you plead?
Well, I take it as a compliment. You know, I'm a fan of Andrew Tate.
Of everything he says?
It depends what we're talking about. But overall, I think he's got a good message. I think he's good for young men. OK,
look, you're talking about women predominantly, which is why you've got this big following. And your view is that modern feminism is deeply flawed. I would argue a lot of your proposals, like taking the vote away from women, are deeply regressive. Mm-hmm. Why would you want to remove, just from yourself, the right to vote?
Well, what happened was I had the same view, right? Back when I started, I was like, why? I found out that only 5% of women wanted the right to vote. And I couldn't figure out, like, why would women not? No, it's true. It's true. If you look it up.
At the time?
At the time.
Because they've been conditioned by men to...
The other lady just laughing because she said at the time, only 5% of women even wanted to vote. 95% of y'all didn't even want to vote. Y'all was like, leave us alone. We are fine in the kitchen making sandwiches. All right? We don't need to vote. I'll just make this sandwich.
To think that they shouldn't have a vote.
I mean, that's what they say. But, you know, I started reading their writings, right? And what I found out was that the reason a lot of women advocated for it was because they believed it was the beginning of the breakdown of the family. You know, before you became one in marriage, 85% of people were married. And, you know, I hate to say it, but they were right. What has happened 100 years later?
What's that got to do with them having the vote?
Well, it also goes back to responsibility. Again, men are 80 to 90% of the military. They run all of the infrastructures that make society run. So I just think if we want an equal say in society, then be equal. Do 50% of the hard jobs. Be 50% of the military. In the U.S., they're fined $250,000 if they don't join selective service, which is essentially the draft.
Okay, but
Now, honestly, I think these talking points, Pearl, are dumb as hell, in my opinion. They're stupid because in order to have a say, you should do equal work. That's ridiculous. That's what? In order to have a say, you should do equal work. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And it's unfortunate that you even say this as an actual woman. As a woman, you can form your lips to say this confidently, and you can back them up with stats that you believe support this foolishness. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I'm not saying that to bash you, okay? If you ever see this, just understand this. I'm not saying this to bash just Pearly things at all. What I'm saying is that this right here, what she's saying is extremely immature thinking, is lacking any substance whatsoever. And it sounds like talking points that someone else has provided to her, and she's just running with it. And if you feel different, that's your business too. You have a right, just like you have a right to vote. All cis women have the right to vote. I'm sorry, I had to throw that out there because I know y'all get mad at that cis women stuff, but
specifically on the vote, what would having the right to vote have to do with family cohesion, for example?
Well, because again, before you weren't trying to divide a family. It was one family unit. You had one vote for the family. I mean, I don't think it's good for a family to have two votes.
Ava, your mouth seems to have dropped about
do you know what it's
3
sort of
feet.
like?
I know.
that's ridiculous as hell. Who's going to represent the women? All right. Someone has to vote for the women. I mean, and it might not make sense to you, but nah, you don't want just one person from the household to go. If I got to go and make all of the vote, do all of the voting for the entire house, and I'm not that in tune with my wife's needs as she is. I'm not as in tune with my daughter's needs as they are. All right. So they shouldn't expect for me to go to the voting booth with those needs and desires and thoughts in mind as a 45-year-old man. Maybe you're saying something differently, but that's what I'm picking up.
Oh, I
No,
know.
it's just sort of a bit galaxy brain. I feel like, you know, the stats that you're putting down are perhaps correct in some universe.
Which stats?
But they just kind of don't really add up. I mean, just to take you back to the to the women's writings that you've allegedly read. I mean, at
Allegedly?
The time, well, at
What
the
do you
time
mean allegedly?
At the time that you're talking about, you know, women weren't really allowed to write. They weren't allowed to go to school.
Yes, they
couldn't
were.
write.
Yes, they
So
were. That's
actually,
incorrect. The first
okay,
female
what year are we
property, the
talking
first
about?
female property owner was in the 1600s. The idea that women couldn't work and couldn't.
I'm so sorry, but that will be inherited property.
The first female millionaire was in the late 1800s.
And was that inherited?
No, it wasn't. It was self-made.
It wasn't.
Yes,
It
it
was
was.
self-made.
Yes, it
And
was.
she never inherited land.
Yes, she did not
And what law
inherit it.
permitted that?
What?
What law permitted that?
Well, there was no law. I mean, there's always been women that were
anyway.
influential in
let's
history.
let's get on to the vote. So what I don't understand is, you know, a part of your message, I've researched you today, and hang on a minute.
Okay.
You know, your big push is that you care about men and you don't think that men are getting enough of a say. But
Well, I care about
hang
women
on,
too.
I haven't
Care
made
about
the
women
point
too,
yet. Because of feminism, okay? What I wonder is when you start making calls out like repeal the 19th, women shouldn't be allowed to vote. How is that helping young men? Because these young men have women in their lives. They have mothers, they have sisters, they have teachers, and they turn around, they don't know how to act around women because you're giving them license to be misogynistic.
I wouldn't call it misogynistic. I say be equal. So again, men
think
do
that's what
all of
most
the.
feminists are
Well,
saying.
then okay, I'd love for the feminists. Please apply for the oil rigs. Please go do the hard jobs in society.
Why
They're
don't you
open.
go and
They're
work there?
hiring because I.
Has Pearl, okay, just Pearly things. Do you think that women only do easy jobs? Is that what you think? What type of jobs have Pearl had in her lifetime? Do she know women? It's like, as a woman, and I mean this in no disrespectful manner at all, because I respect this young lady for her hustle. I respect her for her mind, for her tenacity, for her her desire to just make her own path. For all of that, you get my respect. But where I fall off the Pearl train is it seemed like you completely negate everything that was done for you by women who came before you. And maybe it's because she's not from here and she don't see things the way we see things. I don't know what the case may be. It just seemed like you're a little, just slightly off, in my opinion. Just slightly. And that's cool too. Just get back on. The parts where you're off, get back on. But don't stick a hard landing to the ignorant parts. Just get off of that.
I don't equate I don't think men or women are equal until we do the equal work. So no, listen. Go apply to be on the oil rigs. Go be a plumber. Go be an electrician. Go be on the front lines of the military. And then we should have equal rights. But until feminists are willing to do that, I don't believe we should have the freedom without the responsibility.
Okay, well, I don't.
Being a plumber and being an electrician are not hard jobs. All right? They're not. They're trades, but they're not hard. If you're a man or a woman and you go to school for that trade, and once you're capable to get out there and work as a journeyman, or you finally get upgraded to I don't know what the lead positions are nowadays, but you go through that process, you actually learn a skill. And it's just as difficult as any other job out there. Like, I don't get her believing that what she's doing, and she don't even think she's doing it. It's crazy. You're being sexist toward the people that you believe you're speaking up for, which are the men. Go do the hard jobs. Go be a plumber. Plumber is not a hard job. She started naming jobs that to her is difficult jobs. I can't imagine doing that. Ew. I can't imagine being a construction worker. Ew. They should get everything because they build in buildings and they're laying Lego blocks. No. There's other careers out here that are far more difficult than those ones that you're naming. But you're just doing that because that's the extent of your knowledge when it comes to what's difficult and what's not difficult in this world. Like it makes absolutely, it just shows your immaturity, and that's extremely unflattering.
I don't think that I'm physically built for that. You might be, but I'm absolutely not.
But
you said you were a volleyball.
Wow.
You said you were a volleyball player, and so you've got more strength than I do. I don't think
But
that
I don't have more strength. I don't have more strength than the average man.
I'm not going to take your right away to do it.
I don't have more strength than the average man. But again, it goes back to go be a plumber. You want to be equal, go be equal.
You also, but you want divorce to be made illegal.
Yes.
Why?
Yes, because I don't think what we have today is really marriage. What is marriage? It's for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. That's what marriage is supposed to be. But feminists have ruined marriage for the people that actually believe in marriage.
How?
When there's a 50% divorce rate and the average marriage
Why is that all
8
down to
years.
the women, though?
I didn't say that it was all down to the women.
So why
You said feminist. It sounds like you're... Okay, one thing we do, and it's unfortunate, and I see what she's doing here. Sometimes we like to have sound bites. As content creators, we know what push the needle when we put certain content out there. We're not dumb. We follow the trends. We pay attention to our algorithm and everything that works and does not work for our channels. Sometimes we hit, sometimes we miss. But what she's doing is she's giving the same as the young lady before her said. She's giving talking points. She's giving sound bites. That's what she's giving. Like she has a certain bit of things that she likes to say on every single platform she's on that has worked for her before because she's seen the numbers, and this is her likeness right here. So she feel like this is my moment. This is like I'm on the Piers Morgan show. I'm ready. I gotta destroy her. That's what she's thinking in the back of her mind. When people go and cut these videos up, she want them to cut them up and title them "Pearly Things Destroys Feminists on the Piers Morgan Show," and that's the big title that you see. And it's ridiculous, man. And it does not gain us anything. It does not start a conversation. What it's doing is extremely demeaning to women and is extremely demeaning to men. So who is she actually speaking for? It's ridiculous.
You asked why I want divorce to be banned.
Yeah.
Can I finish that first? So I'm saying, the people that believe in divorce, go be in long-term relationships. Leave marriage for the people that actually believe in, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part.
But doesn't the sanctity of marriage also rely on the woman being a virgin? So you wouldn't be able to get married?
Wow. Okay. If I had a mic, I would drop it.
What do you mean?
Well, you've spoken quite openly about how you're not a virgin, and so if you want to preserve that sanctity of marriage, then I just think that you're upholding standards that you don't actually live by.
And that's a fair complaint. I wish I was. But, we can't go back. I don't know what you want me to say.
Yeah, but I just don't think it's fair that you get to be here and you get to be paid for your views, and you're telling other women that they shouldn't be allowed to.
I think...
Hang on. Okay, if I may, at some stage jump in. Isn't the whole point of being a feminist, though, that women are entitled to have their own views?
Absolutely. And
so she's perfectly entitled to her views.
Yeah, but you can't...
You might not like them.
But I'm here to challenge
But isn't she
them.
exercising her right as a... Are you a feminist?
No, I am not.
Really?
No, I wouldn't. Don't go that far.
You don't want to be a feminist?
No, because I think if feminists really believed in equality, but you guys don't, I would love for you. There is an oil rig hiring. There is an engineering
I would actually love to see Ava sat in on an oil rig.
No, seriously.
You keep saying you keep giving the same talking points as if a woman would not take those jobs. I mean, it's a reason why they don't want those jobs. But that does not mean that they're the most difficult jobs in the world. I don't get her thinking. I really don't understand her thinking. I'm not supposed to. I'm not from where she's from. I'm not a woman. And I just don't. And Pearl, again, if you're watching this, I'm not slamming you. Hopefully you're listening to what I'm saying. I think you're still dope, but you got some growing to do. Unfortunately, fortunately, you have some growing to do. Thank God for that.
Seriously. There is a building being built next to my building. Go do it, feminists. Go do it. And me,
I'm doing the same job that I'm doing right now.
When you find the man you want to get married to, are you saying you will be with that man whatever happens the rest of your life?
Yes, for the vows that we're supposed to live by.
How do you know you can keep them?
I mean, I think it's a choice. And that's the thing, women are so willing to leave marriages because they're not happy. This is not about happiness. The most important thing is the children. And the problem is we have a modern society where it's me, my feelings, leave when I feel like it, instead of doing what's best for the kids.
Ava, I've got to say, it's a little bit listening to Andrew Tate where some of it I really don't agree with. I don't agree with the vote stuff. When I hear things like that, I think there'll be a lot of people, especially older generation women perhaps, who think, you know what, she's got a point.
Well, I believe in agency, so I think that if a woman is going to look after her children in divorce, that's absolutely fine. I also believe in your right to speak your mind about it. What I don't understand...
I'd like to say, even before the 1920s...
Hey, Pearl, you are on a professional channel doing your thing. You are not in a podcast. You're not on one of those panels with other people where you're just going to yell over top of one another. I don't know what to say. Congratulations again for being able to do the show with Piers Morgan, but you pretty much embarrassing yourself, in my opinion. I didn't look at this is my very first time seeing this back and forth, seeing this show. I didn't even know that you were on Piers Morgan's show. I saw it in the recommendeds, which is absolutely phenomenal. I think you're doing an amazing job as far as how you run your business and everything. But at some point, you need to understand where you went off the rails, or you need to know how to back off of certain points and try to be objective. What you're trying to do is drive home that same narrative, that same thing, and it's not helpful. It really isn't, and it's extremely immature to believe that some people cannot change their minds. Yes, people take advantage of vows. People take advantage of marriage. People take advantage of many things. They do. But at the end of the day, we also have rights and we have privileges. And if someone does not work with someone else, then it is what it is. They have to break that, and they have the laws in place to help them do so, which is phenomenal. That's one of the many good things about living in this country. So I don't know what to say to you about your antiquated way of thinking.
You know what I mean?
Women could speak openly. This idea that like women couldn't talk the last 500 years. There have been women throughout
but the American
history
state
that
education system has failed before, and it's failing now.
There have been women throughout history that have read, written, and been very influential in society.
Okay.
So this idea like women could never do it.
Do you know
Don't
what
believe
I
it.
don't understand though is when it gets spiteful, okay? Because you put down a few arguments that I think are perfectly, like, you know, they're kind of evangelical and they're Christian, but those are your right to say it. What I don't understand is when it kind of seeps into this sort of, you call women fat, you say that they shouldn't have
Are they
abortions,
fat?
you say that
Are
they
they
have
fat?
STDs. You know,
I mean, the question is, are they fat? Yes or no?
why pass
The
that kind
average
of
American
judgment?
woman is 170 pounds. That's a
She's acting like she's on a podcast. You are not on a podcast. It's shame. This is growth. You know what? I'm not even going to say anything negative. I thank you for allowing us to witness your growth. I'll just leave it at that.
objectively overweight.
I mean, let's be honest. We now celebrate morbid obesity as some kind of body positive thing, and it is complete nonsense. So actually, on that point again, there's a bit of truth in
and
that.
this is the problem. This is the problem.
How have we come to celebrate morbid obesity as body positive?
Well,
it's nonsense.
We're not talking about morbidly obese. I was actually watching your podcast earlier, and you spoke to someone who was, I would say, probably a size 12, and you called her fat, obese, and a divorcee.
She was fat, obese, and a divorcee.
wasn't.
I mean, like, I don't know what to say. This is the thing, women, we don't want to live in reality. We don't want to say things that are true. Was she fat? Yes. Was she a divorcee? Yes. These things are just objective facts.
Okay, I'm going to have to objectively...
And she insulted me first. They always do.
I'm going to have to objectively end the debate, but it was an interesting conversation. I think we should get you two back together as a matter of urgency. Thank you very much, Pearl. Thank you, Ava.
Not a good show for Pearly, in my opinion. That's just me. That's my thoughts. It's subjective. I'm certain a lot of people who enjoy her and feel the same way have already adapted the same ideologies that she has. Really thought that she killed it on this conversation, but not I.